Hi, I'm Phil Ashey from the American Anglican Council with your weekly Anglican perspective. We're in our series on the Holy Spirit, Fire in the Fireplace, and talking about the relationship of the Holy Spirit to discipleship, to our living our lives as Jesus would. Last week we talked about the fact that the Holy Spirit applies the very character of Christ to us. And the best way to understand that in the shorthand is the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians chapter 5 at verse 22. But I want to focus on one of the principal characteristics of what the Holy Spirit does in us, and that's to enable us to love others. Here's what Paul said in Romans 5:5. He is talking about suffering producing perseverance, perseverance character, character hope, and this is what he says. And hope does not disappoint us, because God has poured out His love into our hearts by the Holy Spirit whom He has given us. And perhaps the first and most important characteristic of a follower of Jesus is his or her love. Their love for the lost, love for hurting people, love for those around us, love that's willing to lay down its life for another person. This week I heard an interesting story about one of my heroes, Festo Kavengeri, a bishop in Uganda who stood up to Idi Amin. And someone once asked Bishop Festo, if he were across a table from Idi Amin, just he and Idi Amin, and there was a loaded gun on the table, what would he do? And Bishop Festo's response was, I would pick up the gun, hand it to Idi Amin, and say, here, this is your way. It's not my way. It's not the way of Jesus. And what a wonderful response, an illustration of the kind of love that God gives us, that it would even lay down its life. I was reminded in a passage I preached on this week about Mother Teresa, who appeared at the National Press Conference, or the prayer breakfast in February 1994 in Washington, D.C., said that abortion is the number one cause of and destroyer of world peace. And what she said was, and she pled with the audience, said, look, if you're going to have abortion, please don't abort the babies. Give me the child. I will take the child. Any aborted child, I will raise it. That's love. That's the sign of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. Love that's willing to lay down its life. Love that's willing to expand its arms and take others in. And that's the kind of love beyond ourselves, beyond our own small hearts, that Paul says the Holy Spirit actually pours into our hearts.